Starting.
Hi, I'm Kira Carrillo-Corser, and today I'm teaching for Compassionate Arts how to make a resilient guardian, also called an angel, guardian angel, you might have heard. And this is a very quick one that I made as a demonstration. And in the first thing I'm going to talk to you about 3 steps, and today we'll just kind of do an overall discussion about how to create Resilience Guardian. And then next Thursday at 4 o'clock, I'll go into more detail about how to do it. And also how to draw face, maybe a simple face that's really fun and pretty, or you don't even need a face. In fact, some people make Resilience Guardians with a symbol of nature, like a flower for a face, or a bird's face, or sometimes we even take our children's toys or our grandchildren's toys that they discard and mix those up into art, which is really fun. And so the whole point of today is to kind of give you something that will inspire you to keep going through this coronavirus sequestering. Being at home has been difficult for some people. And as an artist, I've always got tons to do. So I'd love to share that with you. And so here's another guardian that someone made at the Visionaries Conference in Sacramento. Many of you know that Compassionate Arts is involved in social justice and environmental issues. And so this person took fabric and just wrapped yarn. So you might have some old fabric yarn around the house. And then the main thing that I want you to think of first is a quote from a line of a poem or your favorite writer, or maybe you want to make up a word that has some meaning to you. You know, even supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. You know, you can make it fun, especially if you have kids around. This patch was given to me by my daughter. It says, "Now, do it, live it, love it." So things like that you want to have on your guardian in some way, so that when you see her or him hanging on the wall, you have a connection to it. And so also think about mementos or old jewelry that maybe your grandmother gave you that you wouldn't wear, but you might love it to see it every single day. And this is an example of that. I gave this little frog, if you see that, to my sister, who has passed on now, and so I re-inherited it, and it was a ring, and those are the days when I was doing I'm still doing a lot of environmental justice work, and so I'm thinking that I would like to put this frog, which represents my sister and also environment, on a Resilience Guardian. So you know, I said you can find things around your house to use for your base after you choose your quote. And you can go out in the garden, or I went on my walk with my friend Deanne, who's doing the video right behind the camera there, and yesterday, and we found this stick. It's from a eucalyptus tree, but we were thinking of the movie, you know, with Groot. I'm Groot. And so it seems like it has lips to me. And I'm going to make a Resilience Guardian that has joy and fun to it today. You can start thinking about whatever you would like to see inspiring on your wall. And I found this branch. So if I wire this branch to my newly formed base right here, my Resilience Guardian, it almost looks like arms growing out. So that's what I would do. Here's another stick that I found, and it has arms to me coming out. And if I wanted to, I could wire the frog to the top of this, and I'd have a Resilience Guardian started, right? So the things that you want to gather, so from now till next Thursday, you could be gathering things around your house, and that's what I wanted to show you. So first you're going to you're going to choose a quote. I chose Maya Angelou's quote, "And still I rise." It's one of my favorite for resilience, right? She also has one and about being a phenomenal woman. I'm sure you probably know. This is from one of my Halloween costumes with the Statue of Liberty. and I used a quote from Langston Hughes, which was, "Children, I come back carrying in my body the seed of the free." And I always feel it's important to put the name of the author on your quote or your poem or your song line, because it gives recognition to the artist's talent, and it also encourages your children or your grandchildren or any youth to think about how their words mean something and how they can affect people in generations. So Easter Sunday is coming up, which is in 2 days. So here's a little chicken that I got for Easter, because usually my family comes to my garden, and this year they won't be. We'll be doing it on Zoom. And so you might want to look around the house for fabric. I have some fabric here for your base. So you have your quote, right? Your one line, and you've written it down. Then you're going to look around the house for a base that you could use. And if you have kids and you can't go outside and find sticks and things like that, you can use a paper towel roll, see? And just draw a face on it. And that would be your base. So the original Resilience Guardians, I used vertical blinds. I had these old plastic vertical blinds in my house, and I took them down to make a curtain. Oh, I have a face on the other side. To make a curtain. It's so easy to make a body. I mean, it's so easy. All you do is do a round circle and some shoulders, and people will use their imaginations to make the rest. So let's say you want to use this as your Resilience Guardian. So you go a round circle. It doesn't have to be exact. You don't want it exact, actually, because it's more interesting. And then shoulders that go down on the sides. See? And then an easy face is, like, if you think about, if it's on the wall, it's looking down on you, can be 2 lines like that. And you can put like a little dot at that so that it's looking down at you. You see that? One of the biggest mistakes that kids make, especially, is they try to make a perfect, exact face of a human face. Very few people can do that without a lot of practice. In fact, I don't think anybody can do it without practice, even me. So sometimes it's better just to make it simple and classic. So you can just do a round little nose and a mouth. Like, I like to make a mouth that looks like a bird, kind of like that. She's kind of contemplating. So let's go over here and let me show you a few of more things that I collected that you could be thinking about. So these came from my grandchildren. They can go on your post. Feathers have come from my walks. I have a little bear, which is symbolic. Another quote, which I've used on the Post for Peace and Justice, is Jesse Jackson: "Never look down on anybody unless you're helping him up." And the nice thing about quotes like this is you're setting the intention of what you want your Resilience Guardian to represent. Here's a dog. Looks like the dog chewed her arm off, but you could take her head off and use it on your Resilience Guardian. And here's some more pieces of wood that I've collected. This could be a bird's head. That's what I see anyway. This could be the eye of the bird. And this could be the beak. Looks kind of angry. We don't want that, do we? and then when you paint it, you could glue it onto a piece of wood, and that starts your resilience guardian. Or if you don't see an abstract bird, you could just use a bird from the dollar store or even from Marshall's. Like these bracelets I get at Marshall's, and they are wonderful because they're beautiful, they're inexpensive, and they say things like, this says thankful and grateful and love. This is old shower curtain. It's really fun to put glass or something that catches the light on your resilience guardian because it catches the light. So that's why I have some old jewelry here that you could use. These are some earrings that I've lost parts to, but they would look great on a resilience guardian too. And I'm sure a lot of you might have inherited some jewelry that you might not wear, but you've kept all these years because it's meaningful. So that's even more important, to put something meaningful on your resilience guardian. Here's another piece of wood. Or even if you have an old paintbrush running around the house, or I guess it wouldn't be running, laying around the house. And this is an old paintbrush that I can't use very much anymore because it's really wobbly, but it makes a really cool resilience guardian. And I can start with that and then wrap it and put fabric on it. If you don't have paintbrushes, you can use Q-tips. Most people have Q-tips.
Somebody asked if it doesn't have to look like a human or even an animal.
It does not have to look like a human or even an animal. It can look like a nature. You could put a flower where the face is. Any more questions?
That's the only one I have.
So another thing that you can do is get ideas from magazines. This one says Shine On. You know, if you're talking about resilience, right? Having words on your art, even if you don't have a face, words can really inspire you. And that's because sometimes we tend to forget our own focus when we go out the door. And so wouldn't it be cool if you made a resilience guardian, like you were talking about not having a face. What if you just made a resilience guardian like this? You know, like Stonehenge. You make your own Stonehenge. I'll do it this way. So this is just a piece of wood hanging around the house. We can glue this on there. I've got some hot glue. So you might want to gather some hot glue around the house if you have a hot glue gun, or if you don't have a hot glue gun, I have some Elmer's glue. You can use just about any kind of glue. But see, there's another beginning of a guardian that you can do. Kind of cool. And then you can glue things to it. This one I kind of feel like it should have a peace sign on it. And then I'm not crazy about this pink plastic looking color, so then I would paint it and make it look maybe more metal, like metal, or wrap it with yarn, or there's so many things you can do to it. And Brescia just gave me a bunch of this felt, which is really fun. You can do all kinds of things with that. Maybe you have some yarn from your grandmother, or just hanging around those projects that you wanted to do, but you haven't gotten around to it. For me, I tried to make winter hats with my granddaughters, and it kind of didn't happen, so I have a lot of yarn. And people give me supplies, and even buttons that are kind of cool. You can use buttons for eyes if you want. So the choices are, once you get your quote and you know what your focus is, then you gather your materials to make your guardian based on what your intention is. And if you want it to be fun and funny is okay. My granddaughters did that. They used googly eyes on my youngest one. And that was fine, because maybe going out the door, you want to have some joy, you know, even if it's raining, like it has been here a lot lately, which is unusual, right? So, and we have 5 cats at our house. And so this morning, one of the cats left a little tuft of hair. And I thought, that I would make this Resilience Guardian a little funny. Like I thought I would glue the hair at the top. Can you see that? And the questions you might ask yourself when you get a piece of wood like this is, do I want it this big? Because this is quite large for a Resilience Guardian. And I haven't decided, but I think I like it large, you know. There's something about it coming from nature and a little bit funny that I really like. It's like nature, for me, is a place where I find a lot of healing. I'm a cancer survivor. And so when I go out in nature, I instantly feel connected. And that's what you want these days. You want to feel connected even if you're separated. And art can do that. It can really connect to your heart and your spirit and to others, you know. So that's why we're doing these workshops, right? So what else should I put on this? I think maybe you might not see what I'm seeing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the lips where I see the lips. Anybody have any suggestions other than that? See, to me, it looked like the tree limb automatically had lips. It was almost singing a song, speaking. And then I think I'm going to do the eyes like I was suggesting, the closed eye.
Somebody said feathers.
Yep, feathers would be great. Should I put eyelashes on her? And a nose? Maybe outline the lips. I can go back over this marker with a paintbrush later. And one thing about making a face is, do you want to have the eyebrows? Because the eyebrows kind of set in eyelids, because they set off the face, but it does make it more challenging. See that? So my guardian is kind of, so here's the arms that I imagined. And I have this bird that I thought, oh, that would be kind of cool to have a bird in the guardian's arms.
Why are they saying they love it?
Kind of hard to get it on with the clip, though. I might have to just wire it. There. How easy is that? But it's kind of fun, isn't it? I mean, I think art should be beautiful and fun. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just powerful and painful. And that's okay too. I mean, because if you talk about art as being a voice for your soul and your spirit, that's really important.
Expression.
It's an expression. The saying, yes. So we have the bird, and then we have, what else should we put on? Oh, feathers. Somebody said feathers. So I have 3 feathers here. We have a big white one. We have a black one. Just starting to look like, what was the one with Dalmatians? Whoops.
Cruella.
Cruella. But I think I do like the feather at the top, so hot glue and a little feather there. And what that does is, if you think about art and composition, the feather there pulls your eye up, doesn't it? Usually when you do a painting, if you or a photograph, I have 40 years as a photographer, if you have white in the corners of your frame, it pulls your eye out, or red. but white is really the color. So whenever I took photographs, I'd always either in the darkroom darken those corners or pay attention when you're taking a photograph and try to think about where it leads the eye. In this case, the eye goes up, but because it's curved and because you have the arms, it should bring your eye back down. And I have to figure out what I'm going to do with this. So if I do put charms, which probably by next week I'll show you more, charms on her and yarn, it will make another statement, right? But didn't I say I wanted to put my sister's frog on her? Maybe I'll put my sister's frog there. What do you think? If I have the bird on this arm and the frog there, I actually think the frog would be better down here. I mean, because then it becomes a tree, right? It pulls in the bottom part. And I left the bottom part with this hole because I think that's like a perfect place to put some thread, some yarn through with maybe some charms or a necklace or, well, we'll have to figure that one out, right? So I am going to get some wire. And I've been trying to think of, I have some copper wire and I have silver wire. You can just use wire around the house. You can use, you could use yarn. Oh, I have some string, you know, jute that you can use, or brass wire. Say you want your Resilience Guardian to bring you some money. That would be a good thing to put on, right? Just a little money symbol or a little money.
Faye's got, she likes it lower. Could you put some vines on it?
Put up vines. Oh, paint some vines on it. That's a good idea, Faye. Thank you.
She didn't say paint, but she said put.
Or put some. Well, I do have some leaves that I put on the back of this one. But actually, I kind of like painting it too, because, you know, there's something about using paint. Oh, it's just fun. You know, kids, if you give them markers, they like it. If you give them crayons, they're kind of like, oh, well, you know, we've had this before. But if you give them paint, kids just love paint. Of course, a lot of adults don't like kids to have paint, because why? It's kind of messy, but it frees you up so much, and it's so joyful. I have seen and taught for so many years, and a majority of the time that I'm teaching people that have gone through some crisis. And so when you use paint and you really get into it and you settle down and think and dream, like I'm just giving you a demonstration now. Next week, we're really going to get into it more. And I think I would love to see, please send me ideas or images that you might have done. And we can talk about it more next week in more detail. Still trying to get my little frog on there. This is my sister Kiki. My sister Kiki was a counselor, and she worked with kids who were from abused homes, and a lot of teenagers actually she worked with. She was like you, Faye Love. She worked.
Prompt the questions next.
She worked a lot with teens, and it really was important for me to learn from her. And so I kind of like honoring her on my Resilience Guardian, because I feel like she's looking down from heaven at me now. So it's 25 after 4 already.
5 minutes for questions.
And so if you have any questions, please feel free to send them now. And if you don't, I'll just keep talking until 4:30, and then I will see you guys next week. So, do we have anything? You're just so blown away, right? Anyway, so that's the Guardian at this point, and then we're going to put feathers. I'm not sure where, anybody have ideas about where to put the feather? If I put this bird...
Frog is a symbol of transition and transformation. It fits, Maria said.
Oh, thank you, Maria. That's really true, huh?
Everybody's loving it. They're all, thank you, we love you. Love this
Aw.
post. They love the Guardians. Everything they've been saying all along.
Well, wait till you see it next week. I'll have more on her. So I have to figure out where the feather goes, and that's important because, you know, often people think that feathers are gifts from the birds or from heaven. And a lot of times Deanna and I go on our walks and we find feathers, and it's always fun. I mean, there's something about it that's just beautiful, and there's a yellow bird right outside the window right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we could put it up in the top, huh? I'm not sure. For some reason, it almost feels like it should be. One time I studied actually how Native Americans sometimes attach feathers, and they wrap them and attach them down there. So that might be something I do as I hang it down.
Maria said feathers fit on the head for a symbol of connection into the spirit world.
Oh, nice.
You do
Maria.
have one.
I have one feather on their head. I'll have to think about that. That's really nice. Thank you. And I think maybe this bird up here can go on this little branch here.
And Faye said the color of the feather is significant.
Oh, very good.
I can't wait to make
Well, I'm going to put this purple feather on this bird.
Marjorie said the feather could go up above in the slot of the stick, which I guess is the top, right?
Yep. Yep, Marjorie, I might do that too. But I was thinking that maybe this little purple feather, in honor of Faye Love, who loves purple, would go on this purple bird somehow as a gift. Or maybe it could hang down. I mean, the point is, for all of this, is for you to get into it and think about it. And think about what it means to you. What is meaningful? Your great aunt's brooch, your mother's fabric that you'll never wear. I have a coat from my mother that was her garden coat. I'll never wear it, but I love it and I keep it. It's like 50 years old now, you know. She died when I was 12. So that might be, we'll see. And Marjorie, you said put it up in the top, huh? Maybe, but it keeps falling down, so I'm not sure.
Stuff it down. It doesn't have to be showing all the way,
I could,
right? Just partially.
I could
be
attach
sharp.
it. Well, it's such a beautiful feather. I don't want it to be lost, but I'll have to think about that. And gosh, there's so many things you can put on it, right? I have all this fabric, and I have jewels, and I have I collect all kinds of, and you probably do too, collect all kinds of little doodads that you just don't let go of. And my daughter and my granddaughters, they just give me things too. So maybe actually in honor of them, I could attach a doll. We'll see. I don't know. Doesn't seem to go. It's more nature oriented. I know what I'll do is I think I'll put some beads on there. Marshall's and Michael's has all these beautiful beads on sale. So I got some of those, and by next week you'll see them all thread and on my piece in some way. And if you want just something more simple than this, if you feel, I don't want to feel intimidated. Look how pretty this piece of bark is. Can you see that? And this leaf, how flat. It's a eucalyptus leaf, but it's one of the dollar eucalyptus leaves, so they're round. If you just put that on there, somebody was asking about not having a face. And then you could write the words, and still I rise on here. And that would kind of be symbol of what a leaf does, although a leaf falls, huh? Maybe it rises in the wind. Now, if you want to write your words and you don't really want other people to know what you wrote, you can put it on the back.
30 seconds.
Okay. Maya Angelou. She sure affected me. See how simple that is? And then next week I'll show you how you make a wire to hang it on the wall. And I'll show you more details too. So send in your questions and your photos, and I'll see you next week. Oh, and Tuesday and Wednesday we have other people that are going to be giving free workshops. So tune in to Compassionate Arts, Post for Peace and Justice on Facebook Live. And also, if you missed this, or you want to watch it again, we're going to keep it up on the Facebook page. So thanks for watching. Bye.